I mean, let's start with the elephant in the room. Obviously, Anshul Jubli becoming the second Indian to sign a UFC contract.
Yeah, I'm probably the only legit one because the first guy who started got caught in doping. Yeah. So I wouldn't even consider him. But Anshul Jubli, what a terrific performance, man. And we have watched his career literally start from the bare beginnings and to achieve what nobody conceived before was possible. An Indian fighter in UFC in the main stage in Las Vegas.
Yes.
That's incredible, man. Just watching this guy rise from a very humble background. I think you know more about him than me, but we both have had our moments where we got to know him. Would you like to tell your like fans how did he start? Because you were in
Anshul came from Uttarakhand to cross train, I think, quite a few years ago, maybe 2015, 16, maybe even 17. I'm not sure about the dates, but he came in as a boxer. So I remember we training together in jiu-jitsu and wrestling. But again, Anshul was a different breed altogether. He came in very humble, as you might also know, very humble guy. Would always put his head down, keep sharp, and just train like a beast. And from there, you've just seen him rise and rise and rise. And today, he is undoubtedly the biggest name in Indian MMA, and so well deserved also, because he didn't fight a lot of amateur bouts. Then he was signed by the MFN, where he just smashed or dominated through his opponents. Yeah, he went from nothing to 5-0. Then obviously the road to UFC happened, and he beat the first guy very emphatically, if I may call it so. And right now, with our friend from Indonesia, Jika, I mean, nobody would actually be able to doubt that he is there to stay now. Probably all the haters who've been calling out on his accent, I think it's time for you guys to get acquainted with that accent, because this guy is going to be speaking a lot on that mic. So yeah, so Jubilee, what a beautiful human being and also a fantastic athlete. So I think we, Rebel Radio, Rebel MMA, all of us from everywhere, we would like to congratulate him and wish him all the best for the future. Hopefully, he gets to the top 10 fighters in the UFC in his division and goes on to win the championship belt with time. So that would be something. So, what do you say?
I think that UFC needs to really build him up because he's such a huge prospect. His fundamentals are solid. He has a great grappling based style, which is very essential to sustain a long term career. And they should just give him opponents who he can build upon. And then as he improves, he gets to the next level and the next level. That's how you build stars, right?
Yes.
And with a market like India, which Anshul opens up for UFC, I think UFC will have to play their cards right. And I think Dana White understands it. That's why even the post fight conference that he did, he mentioned that he recognizes the kind of potential market India is. We have so many MMA fans now. Yes. And what I want to talk about is what an impact it will have on the fighters who have been training in India, who have been struggling, who have been trying to make the ends meet. And you saw that 50K performance on the night bonus, like that's life changing money for someone. So all these things will attract a lot of fighters to train hard more, to persevere. Maybe they are training in the Combat Academy, Nagaland. Maybe they are training in some gym at Mumbai. Maybe they are training in Delhi here at Rebel or maybe at Mysore. Maybe Mysore. All these small places under Vistas Academy, there are so many aspiring fighters over there. So now it just opens up floodgates where all these fighters can dream of making it to UFC, because earlier it was like, oh, what's the highest ceiling that you can achieve? And it would be like one championship, maybe different organization.
Maybe even an MFN contract.
Yes, MFN contract was probably the biggest one for the Indian fighters, but now they can dream of going multinational. They can go to a place, a brand like UFC. So I think that has been the most positive impact that Anshul has brought. And I hope we can see the ripple effects in the future where more and more fighters from India, and we know that we have a lot of talent over here. We just need to nurture them right, point them in the right direction, and we'll make it.
And also, it opens up, like you said, the floodgates for academies to sustain now. We
Right.
have a hero to look forward to. And it's suddenly a sport that is cool enough for Indians to, dabble with. Because, yeah, obviously, we as two coaches in an MMA institute, it's still difficult to find people and convince them to join mixed martial arts as a way of fitness. But hopefully, with Anshul winning the contract now, and hopefully with time he will start rising up ranks in his division, and that's going to open the floodgates for all the MMA academies in the country. You know,
Did you think that the UFC had any bias towards him going into the
100,
fight?
110%.
Because the commentary was not very positive about him
Yeah.
initially.
Everybody was rooting for Jigga. Even the betting odds were against him. He was 105 plus 105.
Was Anshul the favorite?
No,
He was not
he
favorite.
was the underdog.
Okay.
Yeah, so if Anshul would have won, they were no minus 105.
So he was
yeah,
the
underdog. So I think, like you said, Bisping and all these commentators were rooting for Jekka to actually hammer the wits out of Anshul.
I think they bought the antics that Jeka was bringing. He was making faces. He was trying to act all funny throughout, whereas Anshul was like just zoned in.
Yes.
And I think they missed that part. But now hopefully they recognize who the guy is and what he can do in an octagon. He absolutely dominated in Mall. And let's talk about that fight itself.
I think it was a late stoppage also, because like
Yes.
like we were discussing, it was biased towards Jekka, and I think the referee was trying to wait for to step in and stop the fight for at least longer than a minute, because he was being hammered
For
quite
2 minutes
early.
straight,
For 2
yeah.
minutes straight. He was on the mount, then he was getting elbowed and hammered. He even turned towards the back. But I think at the end, the referee thought that this is kind of ridiculous, and because it's on an international
It
broadcast.
was Mark Goddard, like one of the most
Michael,
sound ref who
Yeah.
would have stopped the fight earlier, because at one point he was in the gift wrap and he was just getting pummeled by Anshul.
There was no way he was getting out of that. So I think it was a late stoppage, even though Jekka didn't sustain any fatal injuries or even deep injuries. But
Thankfully so.
yeah, it was over 30 seconds prior to the stoppage, in my opinion.
I think they gave him a long time to survive, but he was not getting out of that position. And we have seen Anshul do the same exact thing in NFL as well, where he would just take people down, mount them, and then just go for. He also went for an arm triangle in the first round.
Yes.
And the cool point of that round was when Jeka just exploded out and escaped. He just stood up, pointed at Jeka, and he was like, "Hey, I got you once. I'll do this again." Something like
that was intense, because he's bringing in the swag also, which is absolutely necessary in a sport like MMA. I mean, you could be the best fighter in the world, but if you don't have the swag, you don't make enough. You don't have a fan following that Honor has, or even bigger athletes like O'Malley has, because they have such swag. Because at the end of the day, we are all brands trying to sell a product. So I think that way Anshul is making a mark for himself. And this time, like I said, all the haters talking about his accent, you guys will have to start getting used to it, because Anshul is going to be holding the mic and saying Namaste UFC, India is here.
I can't wait for Anshul to just start selling T-shirts. India is
Yeah,
here.
I know.
That has
India is
become a
here.
catchphrase.
I think that's going to be his catchphrase. You're absolutely right.
Because a lot of people in the comment sections were like, "Yeah, India is here finally. India is here." So that's something cool. I think about mixed martial arts or fighting in general. That if you say a phrase enough, and if it is, even if it's not catchy, sometimes it's cringe. It will start like a following of its own. It will take a life of its
become a
own.
buzzword in itself.
Yeah.
I mean, now I think Anshul Jubli is synonymous with, like you said, India is here. Or India
I saw it on the hoarding as well back in Uttarakhand and in Vegas as well. When they had put in the hoarding, it said "Namaste UFC, India is here." That was pretty cool.
So that's what happens. So do not judge a person. I think we all should not, including me. We should not be judging people on their accents, how they look. Let's just people on how they fight. And Anshul Jubli had a dominating performance. And congratulations to you, Anshul, once again. It was my privilege to have known you. I hope you become the mega star that you are supposed to become, and it's only upwards from here. So I think it just boom. I mean, it has put India on the MMA roadmap finally.
Let's also in the same way express our thanks to his academy, Cross Train, and Soma Fight Club,
Yes.
where I think they had a right team which guided him in the direction where he wanted to be. Because in a lot of other teams, these talents just wilt sometimes. So it's good that his coaches were mature enough to point him in the right direction and take him where he is right now. And obviously, his talent took care of the rest of the business.
Because Anshul did not want to trade punches with this guy.
Yeah.
He just went for the clinch, took him down, and dominated.
Yeah.
Which Pawan unfortunately could not do in the semifinals.
And Jeka is not bad. He had like 2 knockouts back to back. And I think that's the reason why UFC was planning to like promote him more a little bit, a tad bit more. I wouldn't say too much, but probably they thought he's more exciting for the division. He's a little bit brash, and UFC always is on a lookout for people like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the end, it all ended well for Anshul. So great job, man.
Yeah, Team Anshul all the way.